Shiva Puranam, Rudra Samhita, Sati Khanda, Chapter 38, Conflicts between Ksuva and Dadhica. Suta said, after hearing the words of Brahma of enormous wisdom, Narada, the Brahmana, felt surprised and he lovingly asked him. Narada said, please tell me the reason for Vishnu's participation in the yajna of Daksha along with the gods, because in the absence of Shiva, a lot of discomfiture was in store for him. Was it not known to Vishnu that Shiva had the power of dissolution with him? Then why did he fight with Shivaganas like a foolish person devoid of wisdom? O merciful Lord, this is the biggest doubt in my mind. Removing that doubt, you kindly continue to narrate the story of Lord Shiva, which is quite enthusiastic for the mind. Brahma said, O excellent Brahmana, you listen to the excellent story of Lord Shiva quite lovingly, which removes all the doubts of the person putting the question. In earlier times, the wisdom of Vishnu was once lost due to the curse of the sage Dadhica. He therefore went to the sacrifice of Daksha along with gods to help Ksuva. Narada said there was a king named Kshema who possessed great splendor, who was quite friendly to Dadhica, the great sage with enormous spiritual power. In earlier times, a great dispute arose between Ksuva and Dadhica relating to the penance, which resulted in a greater disaster. Dadhica had been a great devotee of Shiva, besides being well versed in the Vedas. Once observed that the Brahmana happened to be the best of all the Varnas. On hearing the words of Dadhica, the king Ksuva, who had been intoxicated because of his riches, spoke. Ksuva said, the king is born with the amshas, parts of the 8 Lokapalas, therefore he indeed is the best. It has been ordained in the Vedas that the king is the form of all the gods. Therefore, O excellent sage, I happen to be the excellent one. Therefore, the king happens to be nobler than the Brahmanas. Take the case of Chavana. Therefore, I am not to be disrespected by you and am to be honored always. Brahma said, O excellent sage, listening to the words of Ksuva, which were contrary to the Vedas and the Smritis, the sage Bhrigu was immensely enraged. Thereafter, O sage Dadhica, getting enraged, struck by the sage Ksuva, the king shot the Vajra at the sage Dadhica. The Lord of the universe then thundered aloud, Dadhica, Bhargava, have been struck with Vajra, fell down on the ground, and then he remembered Shukra, one of his ancestors. Shukra arrived there at once and, with the application of his yogic knowledge, rejoined the limbs broken by the king Ksuva with the attack of Vajra. Shukra, who was the foremost of the devotees of Shiva, with the use of Mrityunjaya Vidya, restored the body of Dadhica to his original position. Shukra said, O dear Dadhica, I, after worshipping Shiva, shall speak out to you the highly potential Vedic hymn of Mahamrityunjaya. We worship Lord Shiva, having 3 eyes, who is the Lord of the 3 worlds and the master of the 3 gunas. Shiva is the essence and the fragrance of the 3 tattvas, 3 fires, 3 lokas, 3 arms, and always has Trimurti. He is Mahadeva among the 3 gods. He has the Trigunatmik form. He is the essence of the fragrance of flower and happens to be the Lord of the Devas. As the fragrance is enshrined in the flowers, similarly, he is found present in all the sense organs, the gods' gunas in a very strong manner. Similarly, he is the Lord of the gods. O Suvrata, O dear Brahmana, he establishes the union of Purusha and Prakriti besides Mahat to different sense organs. O excellent sage, he happens to be Brahma, Vishnu, and other gods who derive their nourishment from him. O Prajapati, you worship with sacred rites, penance, self learning of the Vedas, yogic practices, meditation, remaining truthful, and by other means, and you will be surely freed from the noose of Yama. The Lord is the cause of bondage and freedom. In my opinion, this Mrityunjaya mantra is the excellent of all. Repeat the mantra regularly with your mind devoted to Shiva. After japam, homa, and recitation of the mantra, observe the fast, but you can drink water during the day and night. In case the penance is done in the presence of Shiva, there could be no danger from any quarter. Nyasa and other ritualistic rites shall be observed daily, worshipping Shiva, who is favorably disposed towards his devotees. I shall also talk about meditation. It is only after the meditation that the mantra shall be repeated till the purpose for which the adoration is made. I adore the three-eyed Lord Shiva, the conqueror of the death, accompanied with Parvati, who pours water on his head from the two pitchers held in his lotus-like hands by means of the other pair of hands. He has placed the two hands with the pots. He has placed the two hands with the pots over the lap. He usually holds the Rudraksha rosary and a deer in his hands, and whose body is rendered cool, wet with the nectar falling from the crescent adorning his head. Brahma said, thus advising the sage Dadhica, the excellent sage Shukra, reciting the name of Shiva, returned to his abode. Listening to his words, the great sage Dadhica, reciting the name with devotion of Shiva, went to the forest. Reaching there, he started repeating the Mahamrityunjaya mantra and continued to perform penance for Shiva. He continued reciting that mantra for a long time and performing penance for Shiva. He pleased the Lord in the form of Mahamrityunjaya. O excellent sage, Shiva, who is favorably disposed towards his devotees, was pleased with his tapas, and he appeared before him. Finding the Lord Shiva appearing before him, the excellent sage was delighted, and he appropriately offered his prayer to him with folded hands. O excellent sage, thereafter Lord Shiva, feeling pleased, asked Dadhica, the son of Chavana, for seeking a boon. Thus, listening to the words of Shiva, Dadhica, as the most excellent devotee of the Lord, with folded hands, offering his salutation to him, Dadhica said, O great Lord of the gods, kindly bestow three boons on me. First, my bones should be strong like Vajra. No one should be able to kill me. I should never face distress. Brahma said, listening to the words of Dadhica, Shiva was pleased and he bestowed three boons on him. Having been thus bestowed with the three boons from Shiva, the great sage who always followed the path of bliss at once reached at the place of the king Ksuva. Having achieved the three boons of being indestructible, possessing of Vajra like bones, and becoming free from distress, he kicked the king on his head with his foot. Getting enraged, the king Ksuva then, with his mind devoted at the glory of Vishnu, attacked Dadhica at his chest with Vajra. By the grace of Shiva, the attack of Vajra could cause no harm to Dadhica, which surprised the son of Brahma. Ksuva, the son of Brahma, also finding that the attack of Vajra had become infructuous, felt extremely surprised. Then Ksuva, who had been defeated by Dadhici, the devotee of Mrityunjaya, Brahma felt surprised. Garuda bannered Vishnu, having been pleased with his tapas, appeared before him because of his tapas. Looking at the Lord Janardhana with his divine sight, he bowed in reverence to him and eulogized him. After adoring and offering prayer to the invincible Lord, praised by Indra and others, he bowed his head in reverence to him and submitted to him. The king Ksuva said, O Lord, I had a great friend who was the noble soul and humble, known by the name of Dadhica, who is a famous Brahmana. He worshipped Mrityunjaya Mahadeva and became free from death and sickness. The said sage Dadhica kicked me in my court at the head with his right foot, showering an insult on me. In arrogance, he openly declared that he had achieved a boon from Mrityunjaya and therefore he was not afraid of anyone. Brahma said, Lord Vishnu then remembered the enormous prowess of Shiva and realizing the invincibility of Dadhica said to Ksuva, the son of Brahma, O best of the kings, the Brahmanas are least afraid of anyone. O king, the devotees of Shiva are particularly free from any danger. I am myself suffering presently because of the curse from a Brahmana. Because of that curse, I shall got destroyed and then brought back to life by Shiva. Therefore, O leader of the kings, I shall try to get you victorious over the Dadhica, but the yajna can never be completed. Listening to the words of Vishnu, King Ksuva accepted them, but he remained there to have his desire fulfilled. Iti Shri Shiva Mahapurane Dvitiyayaং Rudra Samhitayaং Dvitiye Sati Khande Ksuva Dadhica Vadavarnanang Namashtrinşodhyayah. Chapter 39. Fight between Vishnu and Dadhica. Brahma said, Lord Vishnu, who is favorably disposed towards his devotees with the aim of doing some good, with the aim of doing some good to the king Ksuva, taking to the form of a Brahmana, arrived at the abode of the sage Dadhica. Vishnu said, O sage Dadhica, engaged in the adoration of Shiva, I have arrived to ask for a boon from you. Can you give it to me? Brahma said, in this way Vishnu, in order to establish the task of the king Ksuva, deceitfully asked for a boon from the sage who was a great devotee of Shiva. The sage Dadhica said, O Vishnu, you have changed your form with your illusion in order to establish the task of the king Ksuva and have arrived here. I have known the purpose of your arrival here. O Vishnu, by the grace of Shiva, I am well aware of the happenings of the past, present and future. I know you in the form of Hari or Vishnu. You therefore shed away this form of a Brahmana. The evil-minded king Ksuva had adored you, discarding the deceitful form. You better recite the name of Shiva. I am well aware of your devotion towards the Lord. You better speak out the truth to me. Can there be any danger to a devotee of Shiva like me? While reciting the name of Shiva, I am the least afraid of the gods, demons or others. I am speaking the truth. Vishnu said, O Dadhica, you are not afraid of anyone from any source because you are a devotee of Shiva and are omniscient. I bow in reverence to you. At my command, you first tell the king Ksuva once that you are afraid of him. Brahma said, O excellent sage, Dadhica, the supreme devotee of Shiva, listening to the words of Vishnu, then fearlessly spoke while smiling. Dadhica said, by the grace of Shiva, the holder of the Pinaka bow, I am the least afraid from anyone at any place. Brahma said, thus listening to the words of the sage, Lord Vishnu, getting enraged, tried to reduce the sage to ashes with the use of his chakra. The chakra shot at by Lord Vishnu in the presence of the king Ksuva became infructuous. When Vishnu found his chakra becoming infructuous, then Dadhica, the great sage, possessing the knowledge of the cause of discrimination between existent and non existent, smilingly said to Vishnu. Dadhica said, O Lord Vishnu, formerly the great chakra was obtained from Shiva by you making great efforts. Thus is the auspicious chakra of Shiva. Therefore, it cannot harm me at all. Then Lord Vishnu, getting enraged, used various other weapons which were of no avail. Then Dadhica said, You can attack me with Brahmastra as well. Brahma said, hearing these words of the sage Dadhica and thinking him to be quite weak, Vishnu, getting enraged, shot all the weapons at him. Then all the foolish kings, respectfully joining the Vishnu, started fighting with the Brahmana. Indra and other gods fighting on the side of Vishnu started shooting their weapons on Dadhica. Then Dadhica, who had controlled all his senses, remembering the name of Shiva in his mind, holding kusha grass in his hand, created the bones of Vajra for all the gods. O excellent sage, with the influence of Shiva, the kusha grass held by Ksuva in his hands was turned into tridents, emitting fire of the time of dissolution. Then the sharp-edged trident issuing burning the gods from all the sides. All the weapons shot by the gods at the trident started offering their salutation to it. All the gods were deprived of their strength and getting frightened, they fled away from the scene. Only the frightened Lord Vishnu, the illusory one, stayed there. Thereafter Lord Vishnu produced out of his body lakhs of valorous warriors. O divine sage, the warriors of Vishnu started fighting with lonely Dadhica. Dadhica, the devotee of Shiva, reduced all of them to ashes while fighting with them. Thereafter, Vishnu, well versed in illusion, in order to surprise Dadhica, took to his universal form. At this, Dadhica then had a look in the body of Vishnu with thousands of mobiles and immobiles besides the gods. There were crores of bhutas, crores of ganas, and crores of universes, while which could be seen in the body of the universal form of Vishnu. Dadhica, the son of Chavana, looking at all the things to spread there, spoke to the all universe. Dadhica said, O long-armed one, squeeze your illusion. In case one thinks it deeply, it is only a fallacy. O Madhava, I am also aware of thousands of such practices which are unknown to others. O Vishnu, I bestow the divine sight on you, and you carefully look at me, and you will find thousands of Brahmas, Vishnus, Maheshas, besides the entire world. You look at me carefully. Brahma said. The sage, who had become fearless because of the brilliance of Shiva, displayed the entire globe in his body. Remembering Shiva in his mind, Dadhica, the supreme Shiva, becoming fearless, antagonized Vishnu. Dadhica said, O Lord Vishnu, why are you displaying the prowess of your illusion or the strength of the mantras? You better discard the illusion and fight straight away. Brahma said, on hearing the words of the sage, spoken fearlessly, filled with the brilliance of Shiva, Vishnu was immensely enraged at him. Finding that Vishnu was sure to fight with Dadhica, all the gods fled away from the place. In the meantime, the king Ksuva came to me. Then I removed the fainted gods as well as from that place. Learning from me that the Brahmana could not be defeated, then Lord Vishnu went to him and offered his salutation to him. The king Ksuva became more humble and going to the sage offered prayer to him. Ksuva said, O excellent sage, O foremost of the devotees of Shiva, you are beyond the sight of the wicked people. Only the devotees of Shiva can recognize you. Brahma said, thus listening to the words of gods, with the king, the ascetic, the Dadhica, became graceful on them. Thereafter, looking at Vishnu and other gods, and feeling enraged, the sage Dadhica, concentrating his mind on Shiva, pronounced a curse on them. Dadhica said, let the gods, the ascetics, and Vishnu with his attendants be destroyed in the fire of the anger of Shiva. Brahma said, thus pronouncing a curse on the gods, the sage then said to Ksuva, O best of the kings, Brahmana is more adorable than the gods and the kings. O leader among the kings, only the Brahmanas are powerful and influential. Thus speaking, Dadhica retired to his hermitage. The king Shubha too returned to his abode, offering his salutation. The Dadhica, while Vishnu, accompanied with the gods, retired to his abode. Since that time, this place was known as Sthaneshwara. Having an audience with Shiva here, a person who visits this place attains the Sayujya devotion of Shiva. Thus, I have narrated the story of the conflict between Ksuva and Dadhica. In brief, leaving Shiva, Dadhica had cursed Brahma and Vishnu. A person who recites the story of Ksuva and Dadhica daily, he overcomes the untimely death and achieves Brahmaloka after his death. The one who, hearing this story, enters the battlefield, he becomes eternal and victorious. Iti Shri Shiva Mahapurane Dvitiyayang Rudra Samhitayang Dvitiye Sati Khande Vishnu Dadhica Yuddha Varnanang Namaikona Chatvarinshadhyayah. Chapter 40. Audience of Gods with Shiva. Narada said, O Brahma, the displayer of Shiva Tattva, you have narrated the astonishing sports of Shiva. Now you tell me as to what happened after the return of Virabhadra to Kailasa, destroying the yajna of Daksha. Brahma said, all the gods at that time, besides the sages, having been wounded by the army of Shiva and getting defeated, arrived at my place. Offering their salutation to me and several types of prayers to me, they started speaking their tales of suffering. Learning about the news, I, feeling painful at heart with the death of my son, started thinking in my mind as to what should be done by me to relieve the gods of their sufferings and also bring Daksha back to life, completing his yajna at the same time. O sage, I never felt comfortable while thus thinking. Then I remembered Vishnu and was given the proper guideline. Thereafter, I went to Vishnu Loka, accompanied with the gods and the sages. Reaching there, I offered my salutation to the Lord, and after praising him, I narrated to him and the tale of my agony. I said to him, O Lord, you kindly make efforts by which yajna of Daksha could be completed. Daksha is brought back to life, and the gods as well as the sages feel comfortable. You kindly do something. O Vishnu, you always please the gods. O Lord of Rama, all the gods and the sages have arrived here to take refuge under your feet. Listening to the words of Brahma, Vishnu, remembering Lord Shiva, in his mind spoke with a painful heart. Lord Vishnu said, in case a sin is committed against a powerful person, then the apology could be the only remedy. O Brahma, since the share of Lord Shiva in this yajna was not set aside, therefore all of us are the sinners before Shiva. You try to appease Shiva with a spotless mind and offer salutation to him holding his feet. At the command of the protector of the world, whose fury destroys everything, and with his grace the resuscitation is sure and quick. You, with your wife, must apologize to Shiva for the evil words spoken by the wicked Daksha. O Brahma, this is the biggest remedy for the atoning of that sin. he would surely be pleased with it. I am speaking the truth. Neither I, myself, nor the gods, nor the sages with human bodies could be aware of his tattva, his prowess, and the limitations. By becoming inimical to the supreme independent soul, who can lay down a remedy to quell his delusion, I also have antagonized Shiva. I shall also come to the abode of Shiva with you. Let us all beg forgiveness from him. Brahma said. With this command of Vishnu, Brahma and other gods got ready to proceed on to Himalaya. At that point of time, Lord Vishnu, accompanied with other gods, the sages, and the Prajapatis, reached the Himalaya mountain. The place is quite dear to Shiva, which is inhabited by the Kinnaras, gods, Apsaras, yogis, siddhas, besides being the highest place. There were several types of springs. The wives of the gods and the siddhas were also found there, who roamed about with their husbands in the mountain caves. The mountain of snow was decorated with several types of trees. Several deer and birds roamed about there. There were numerous springs there. The wives of the gods and the siddhas used to visit the mountain caves with their husbands. The mountain of snow was decorated with several trees. The lions and other creatures, shedding aside their natural enmity, lived there. All sorts of the divine splendor could be found there. The auspicious river Ganga, originating from the holy abode of Sati and also known as Vishnupadi, and also known as the Vishnupadi, flowed there, and as such, the place was quite clean. Thus, looking at the Kailasa mountain, which is dear to Shiva, all the gods, the sages, as well as Lord Vishnu felt surprised. Close to the mountain Himalaya, they also spotted the divine city of Alaka, the dwelling place of Kubera, a friend of Shiva. A forest of lotus flowers was also found by them close by, around which birds of several species were chirping. Two rivers named Nanda and Alakananda were flowing around it, at the sight of which all the sins are washed out. The divine damsels daily descended from the heaven and drank their waters for the enjoyment of their sexual sports with their men folks. They entered in those waters. After passing through the city of Alaka and the lotus forest, they found on the way the banyan tree of Shiva. The immobile shade surrounded it. It had a large number of suspended branches without hanging roots. It was 100 yojanas in height and had no nests on it. It protected the people from the heat. It was the place where Shiva had been engaged in yogic exercises. It was excellent and quite gigantic. It was visible to the exceedingly meritorious people, besides being beautiful and auspicious. It was the abode for the people desirous of moksha. Vishnu and other gods found Shiva seated in meditation under the shade of that tree. Sanaka, Sanandana, and other great yogis and the devotee of Shiva were found by them, serving the Lord delightfully. The Guhyakas, Kubera, the Lord of demons and friend of Shiva, besides the Shiva Ganas, were also serving him. Shiva had taken to the form of a yogi with the ashes applied over his body. He was friendly to the entire world. O Narada, at your instance, when he was discoursing on the divine knowledge, then all the people present there listened to the same. He was seated over the kusha grass. He had placed left foot over right thigh and the knee. The Rudraksha rosary was suspended from his wrist. He was displaying Tarka Mudra. Looking at Shiva, all the gods, including Vishnu, offered their salutation to him with folded hands. Lord Shiva, the refuge of the saintly person stood up and welcomed Vishnu and myself and offered his salutation, lowering his head. Then Vishnu and other gods bowed in reference to Shiva, touching his feet, while Vishnu, the goal of the world, bowed to Kashyapa. Vishnu and the gods performed obeisance to Shiva and spoke to him, who was revered by the lords of the gods, Siddhas, Ganas, and the sages. Iti Shri Shiva Mahapurane Dvitiyayang Rudra Samhitayang Dvitiye Sati Khande Shiva Darshana Varnanang Nama Chatvarinshadhyayah.